Did head of Xbox Phil Spencer just tease and leak brand new Xbox hardware? And did Xbox Game Pass just prove a lot of its haters wrong? Well, there's a lot here to talk about, so let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? This is RandAl419, the man with the million, back again with another video. I hope you all are having a great day, and if you guys can do me a huge favor, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and please check out that Patreon. I would appreciate it very much. Thank you guys for watching all the videos. So we have a couple interesting news items I wanted to discuss today. One of them is about Xbox Game Pass. Now, Xbox Game Pass definitely is one of the best values in gaming, but there is a certain segment of gamers out there that really don't like Game Pass and constantly bring up the question of, is Microsoft making any money off of it? Is it sustainable? Everybody is just on $1 subscriptions, right? Nobody's actually paying full price for this thing. Well, we finally got some actual revenue figures from Microsoft because of the Brazil Commission. And man, you're going to see some of those goalposts moved in real time. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on in the video because first off, we have Phil Spencer basically teasing and leaking new Xbox hardware that Jez Corden had talked about on Windows Central a couple months ago. And this is just going to continue the whole Phil Spencer shelf saga. You recall, I think it was almost, 2 years ago now, maybe a year ago, where Phil Spencer had a statue of Kojima's Luden's doll next to a bright Xbox logo. And that was when we got the information that, hey, Kojima and Xbox might be teaming up with one another, which eventually was proven true when Kojima himself appeared at the Xbox E3 showcase, basically saying that he's working on a new game for Xbox. And of course, everybody remembers when Phil Spencer had carefully hidden an Xbox Series S on his shelf, but nobody had known what it looked like, so it kind of just sat there unrecognizable for a long time until once the system was revealed. Well, speculation's continuing to run rampant again because Phil Spencer decided to take another picture of his shelf in support of Fallout's 25th anniversary, which I gotta just briefly mention. When's the next Fallout game coming? We know Bethesda's working on Starfield coming out, hopefully next year in 2023, and we know their next game after that is Elder Scrolls 6, probably in 2027, maybe 2028, barring any delays. So does that mean we're not going to see the next Fallout game, Fallout 5, until something like, I don't know, 2032? Is Obsidian going to work on Fallout New Vegas 2 at some point in the next few years after they get Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 out the door? This very well could be a trying time for Fallout fans, as it really doesn't seem like we're getting a new one anytime soon. But anyways, Phil Spencer posted this picture of his shelf and said, Vault Boy left the shelter and stopped by my office to celebrate the Fallout 25th anniversary. Congratulations to Fallout and Bethesda teams on this major milestone for an iconic franchise. But nobody cared about the Pip-Boy, nobody cared about the Kojima statue, nobody cared about the Halo Infinite thing on the middle shelf, nobody even really cared about the Elden Ring sword on the top shelf. Everybody was focused on this small-looking Xbox console-looking thing next to a controller that is sort of front-facing the camera, and people sort of came to the conclusion that, hey, Phil's just leaked Xbox Keystone. Now, of course, a lot of this is rumor and speculation. It does look like a very small console, but we do have the official Xbox Twitter account replying to Phil saying, now, what did we say about putting old prototypes on your shelf, boss? Referring to when Phil had the Xbox Series S on his shelf for months on end. Now, I'll be the very first to say that this new hardware isn't really that exciting if you're looking for maybe the next Xbox Series consoles, right? It's not as exciting as when we heard about Project Scarlet, the next generation of devices that Microsoft was making that turned into Project Lockhart and Project Anaconda, the Xbox Series X, and the Xbox Series S. But Microsoft has a lot of plans for the future, and a lot of it does involve the cloud. For example, you can play all your Xbox Game Pass titles on iOS as well as Android, with Xbox talking about how Eventually in the future, you'll be able to play the games that you purchase outside of a Game Pass subscription streaming, so that is something to look forward to. They just released the Xbox Game Pass app on Samsung 2022 smart TVs, which allows you to play cloud streaming Xbox titles with the controller without the need of a console, just with that app on the TV. And there's been rumors for a long time that Microsoft was going to make some sort of Roku-like device, a really cheap device that you could essentially plug into any TV and be able to stream your Xbox games without a console. That's the whole point of all this, is Xbox is going to have all these bases covered, essentially putting games on every single one of your screens by lowering the cost of entry. You got the consoles, you got PC, you got streaming on iOS and Android, as well as the PC, and then you're going to have the TVs themselves, apps on pretty much every smart TVs, and then for the person that may want to have some sort of device, then this Keystone device, the one that Phil has on his shelf here, is just another part of this overall plan. Now, Microsoft had officially confirmed this to Jez Corden a few months ago, and in his article he says, for a few years, rumors have persisted that Microsoft was exploring building some form of streaming stick to offer Xbox Cloud Gaming via more affordable dongle, similarly to Chromecast and Google Stadia, which is now dead. The first hint was Project Hobart. More recently, a codename Keystone appeared in an Xbox OS list, lending fire to rumors that Microsoft was continuing to explore additional hardware for the Xbox lineup. We can now confirm that this is indeed true, and it pertains to a modernized HDMI streaming device that runs Xbox Game Pass and its cloud gaming service. Microsoft is, however, taking some time to explore additional iterations of the product before bringing it to market. In a statement provided to Windows Central, a Microsoft spokesperson described its commitment to lowering boundaries to Xbox content via low-cost hardware, while acknowledging that the existing version of Keystone needs a little more time to bake before going live. Quote, "Our vision for Xbox Cloud Gaming is unwavering. Our goal is to enable people to play the games they want on the devices they want, anywhere they want. As announced last year, we've been working on a game streaming device, codenamed Keystone, that could be connected to any TV or monitor without the need of a console. As part of any technical journey, we are constantly evaluating our efforts, reviewing our learnings, and ensuring we are bringing value to our customers. We have made the decision to pivot away from the current iteration of the Keystone device. We will take our learnings and refocus our efforts on a new approach that will allow us to deliver Xbox Cloud Gaming to more players around the world in the future." So that is what Microsoft officially said to Jez Corden a little bit earlier in the year, right before E3. So I wasn't really expecting Xbox Keystone to show up in any form really until 2024. There's rumors that it might be something like $100 packed with a controller, but I didn't think we'd see it for quite some time, a couple years at least. Well, here we have the prototype, or at least a prototype, that I'm sure maybe Phil is actually using, testing out at Xbox, and it's right there in the picture, not to be missed. It's not hidden. It's at the top shelf looking directly at the camera. So maybe that implies the device is going to come out sooner rather than later. Could we see Xbox Keystone officially announced with the name, an actual release date, and a price sometime at the end of 2023? Only time will tell, of course. Let me know what you think about Xbox Keystone and the streaming device, and Phil Spencer revealing stuff on his shelf in the comments below. And now we have to talk about Xbox Game Pass, because this subscription service definitely has its haters, mostly on the PlayStation side. And their arguments always devolve into, hey, you gotta buy your games, you're not supporting developers if you use Xbox Game Pass, which has always been an utterly ridiculous statement, considering Microsoft, Xbox pretty much pay the developers to put the game on their service, and it usually pays the full development cost of the game, but that's neither here nor there. You usually hear about how nobody's subscribed to the service, or how the service has low quality games, which both of those are equally as dumb, and you can just disprove those by looking at Metacritic as well as the official numbers that Microsoft puts out there. But even still, when Microsoft does come out and say, hey, we have 25 million subscribers, just like they did when they announced the Activision acquisition, people always come out of the woodworks to say, that's not actually 25 million people paying full price. That's just a bunch of people with $1 trials. They're not making any money. They're just burning money like it's going out of business. It's not sustainable. They're losing so much money, even though Phil Spencer said it's very sustainable. And I guess maybe a lot of the question marks surrounding the service have to do with the secrecy that Microsoft has regarding Xbox numbers. We don't get the breakdowns about Game Pass or the console sales or game sales like we do with Nintendo or PlayStation. Microsoft is usually very secretive about certain things like that. Sure, we get a revenue breakdown and things like that. We know that Xbox's past year was the best ever in the history of Xbox at like $16 billion, but we don't have those crazy breakdowns like the other companies offer. Well, thanks to the Brazilian Commission, because Microsoft had to submit information to back up their claims regarding the Xbox Activision deal, we know now how much money Xbox Game Pass was making last year and a whole bunch of other things, right? So you can see here the Brazilian Commission posted this Table 25, multiple game subscription services for console across the world in the year 2021. It's supposed to be restricted access, but whatever, we got the information so we could talk about it. And they show off here that Microsoft made $2.9 billion in the fiscal year of 2021. Now, it should be pointed out that this is just Xbox Game Pass for console. This doesn't even include Xbox Game Pass for PC, so maybe it's a little bit higher, although there's some things we don't really know. Does this include game purchases of Game Pass subscribers when games are about to go off the service where they offer like a 20% discount? There's little minutia of details that we aren't certain about. And yes, certainly the $3 billion is in profit, because that is the new talking point. Before, it was, hey, nobody's paying for this full price. It's just a bunch of people at $1 trials, which if you want to go with that angle, then I guess, Xbox Game Pass has 290 million subscribers or something like that, or whatever the math comes out to. I'm not doing math right now in my head, but some ridiculous number if it was $1. But clearly, those were dumb arguments. And we know the subscriber number, at least for the end of 2021, was something like 18 million, with 25 million being in January. So now we know how much money it was bringing in. But nobody ever said it was profit. Nobody ever said this is how much money Game Pass was making for Xbox profit-wise. But that's the new goalpost shift. Before it was nobody was subscribed and it's not making any money, and now it's, well, it's not making any profit. You guys are stupid because you're conflating revenue and profit, which is like, that wasn't the argument you guys were making before. At least stay consistent and say you are wrong about something instead of consistently backing up and changing your own narratives. It's absurd, it's ridiculous, and it's pathetic. Do better. We can also see from this chart here, thanks to Tweaktown and Derek over there, that Xbox Game Pass earns $2.9 billion in 2021 in millions. From January 31st, 2021 to December 31st, 2021, games and services, hardware, and Xbox Game Pass. You can see games and services on the left, with the light green being Game Pass making $2.9 billion and other making $9.6 billion, for a total of $12 billion. Now, we don't know what goes into other. I'm assuming that's like full game sales, microtransactions, the whole kit and caboodle of Microsoft selling games. But like I mentioned, we don't know what PC Game Pass is. We don't know how Microsoft puts all these numbers in here, because we know that some people, they do the trick where you can convert Xbox Live Gold into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for really cheap. We don't even know how much Xbox Live Gold makes by itself, so there's a lot here we don't know. But as you can see, the games and services, which is $12.5 billion, goes into the overall total Xbox revenue, and then you add that $12.5 billion to the hardware, which is $3.7 billion, and you get that $16.2 billion that Xbox made last year. And if you do some math, if you take that $16 billion and divide it by essentially the $3 billion that Game Pass makes, you'll come to the conclusion that Xbox Game Pass only makes up about 18% of the total overall Xbox revenue. And that's with, 20 million subscribers at the time. What is this going to look like in the future? Because it sort of feels at this point like Xbox is saying, this isn't even my final form yet, right? They're about 25 million right now, although I don't know what the number is when this chart was made. What does it look like after the Activision Blizzard games get added? Like Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, all the new Blizzard games, the King games. What does this revenue look like? What does it do for Xbox Game Pass if you're putting brand new Call of Duty titles into that service? What does it look like when you're at 40 million? What does it look like when you're at 50 million and cloud streaming is more commonplace on all TVs, with Project Keystone being able to buy for really cheap, with Xbox Series S getting cheaper, possibly selling for $199 during the holidays? How much money is Xbox Game Pass going to bring in then? That is definitely something to think about. And then the final graph, we have Xbox Game Pass subscriber growth from 2020 to January 2022 in million subscribers. And you can see here the trajectory of growth for Game Pass, where in quarter 4 2020 they were at 10 million, and then the next quarter 1 2021, all the way up to 15, and then 2 quarters later, quarter 3 2021, they were up to 18, quarter 2 2022, so essentially a year later, they were up to 20. And then finally, when they announced the Activision deal in January, during Microsoft's quarter 3 2022, they have 25 million subscribers. So you can see the growth here. And I do have to wonder what Xbox Game Pass is at right now. Now, throughout most of the year, Xbox Game Pass I thought was a little bit lackluster. It's actually been a lot better for the back half of the year, and it looks crazy for at least the early part of 2023. So what are they at right now? Have they crossed that 30 million mark? Are they waiting for another milestone before they announce it? Are they waiting for the closure of Activision Blizzard before they give new numbers? So I'm really curious to see what Xbox Game Pass is right now, and I'm always curious to see the goalposts shift and move back in real time and what new narratives will take place. Anyways, guys, that's the video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you leave a comment below, and please like the video, subscribe if you're new, share this out on social media, hit that notification bell, and please check out the Patreon, where we have a brand new exclusive Patreon podcast going live tomorrow. Hope to see you guys there. Thank you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.